It's a new day in Port Charles. Sam sits by Dandy's bed, and he's still not awake. Sam can't believe Jason is alive, and he could have done this to him. Laura checks in, and Sam says Dante is the same, but her world is in pieces. Laura and Sam go outside to talk, and Sam says she has all these thoughts swirling around in her head, she can't focus, and doesn't know what to do. She says one second she's hurt that Jason's out there a fugitive, but then she gets weepy that he's alive, and then she wonders where he's been all this time. Laura says it's complicated, and she loved him and had a child with him, but she is still in shock and can't see clearly right now. Sam is trying to keep it together for her kids, and she doesn't know how to help Danny process that his father might have shot Dant when she can't process it. Laura advises her to let the love for her children guide her. Sam thanks her for being here and for the advice. Finn gets assigned to a consultation from Portia, says, "Oh boy," and heads in to see Heather. Heather is busy yelling at Amy for having cold hands and lacking a sensitive touch, so she's thrilled to see a friendly face in Finn. Finn says his being here is not good news for her. Finn explains she has cardiomyopathy, a weak heart muscle, and she's not responding to the medication. Heather asks why the infectious disease specialist is checking out her ticker. Finn says he's been asked to rule out anything else since the cardiologist found nothing to indicate the cause of this. Heather complains she's in pain and distraught, and she can't concentrate on what he's saying. She asks if she can see her grandson, who was brought in sick last night. Finn can't just take her to see another patient. She cries she's worried sick about him. Finn says if she cooperates with him, he'll find out what he can for her. She tells him aside from the pain in her hip, she's been bloated for a few months. She also has had ringing in her ears and brittle nails. She asks if Finn can find out what is going on with her grandson now. Laura arrives and tells Finn she needs a moment alone with Heather, so he departs. Laura closes the door and the blinds and tells her that Ace is fine and has an ear infection. Heather doubts her grandson is fine given Cyrus and Ryan's twin are in his life, and that's not good for his childhood development. Heather wonders what her reason for dropping in is, if not to apologize for clocking her on her head. Laura says she's here to discuss Pentonville, and she's soon to be someone else's problem. Laura reveals she talked to Robert, and given her history of escape and assault, that they don't feel Pentonville is an appropriate place for her. They are sending her to San Quentin Women's Federal Penitentiary. Heather begs Laura not to send her to California, but Laura has no choice as she's been a danger to Port Charles for years, so she has to put as much distance between her and the town. Heather cries about how they used to be friends. Laura explains that is what makes this so hard, and she struggles to understand how she went from being a mean girl to a killer. All she wants to make sure is that she can't hurt her family again. Heather says they are family because of Ace. She cries she is the only connection to Ace's mother he has and begs her not to separate her from the only family she has. Laura informs her that Ace is no longer her concern, and she and Kevin are adopting him. Heather screams she'll die before she lets Laura and Ryan's brother raise her daughter's son. Laura says it's done, and she can rest easy knowing Ace will always be safe, but she can never see him again. Laura walks out, leaving Heather in shock. In an elevator, Christina and Molly talk about Sam and the fact that Jason may be the one who shot Dante. They step off the elevator and run into Blaze. Christina didn't expect her to be here. Blaze says her girlfriend needs her, so where else would she be? Molly heads to get food, and Christina updates Blaze on her brother. She also says her family is here, so Blaze shouldn't feel the need to stay. Christina doesn't want to be an inconvenience. Blaze says her girlfriend is never an inconvenience. Christina notes that word is getting easier for her to say. Blaze wishes she could reschedule her morning to be with her, but she has to deal with her mom. She invited her to breakfast this morning. Christina offers to go with her if she needs backup. Blaze is shocked she would want to given the way her mother talked to her. Blaze appreciates the offer, but Christina needs to be here for her family and she'll deal with hers. Molly returns Christina
and notices
Christina is a little down with Blaze gone. Christina explains that she went to see her mom, and her mom isn't her biggest fan since she found her in her daughter's bed. She fills her in on what went down, and that maybe her mom calling her to talk is a good sign. Molly hopes she's right. Christina knows her sister is thinking she's being too optimistic, and Allie is being set up to fall, which will be bad for her and bad for the baby's health. Molly says she hasn't said anything like that, and not to assume she's always judging her, because she's not. Molly says they got in this together, and they love and trust one another, and that trust extends to Blaze. Michael arrives and finds Sam sitting alone and processing her thoughts and feelings. She invites him to sit with her, and they talk about the possibility that Dante was shot by Jason. Sam says they won't know what happened until Dante wakes up. Michael calls what she and Dante have special. They are both friends and partners, and that their love is powerful. Natalia meets Blaze at Bobby's. Her mother asks what is good here, and Blaze says everything is good and food is the last thing they should be talking about. Natalia knows and has something to say. Natalia is sorry for how she reacted, and she hurt her when she was trying to explain everything to her. Blaze has no idea what to say, as she never expected her mom to say those words. Natalia says she should have known what was going on, and why she would be more comfortable with a woman. She says what happened with Link was traumatizing and would make anyone want to experiment. Blaze can't believe her mother, and who she is has nothing to do with what Link did to her. Blaze storms out on her mother, saying she's lost her appetite. At home, Carly looks at the articles on her phone about Jason and the manhunt for him. There is a knock at the door, and it's Drew. She says he didn't have to knock, but he didn't want to interrupt in case his brother was here. She says he's not here, but Drew assumes he was last night, and she confirms it. Drew comes in, and he knew Jason would come to her. He asks if when she came to help him last night at the mansion if Jason was already here. She says he wasn't, and he's glad she didn't lie to him last night, but she also didn't call him. Carly says the only person she called was Deanne because of Anna's search warrant. She explains what happened, including that Jason didn't even know Bobby died. Drew asks if he told her about how he got shot. Carly says they didn't talk about it. Drew notes the police think he shot Dante, but Carly knows Jason and knows he didn't shoot Dante. Drew says, "That's what I thought you would say." Drew says the police report that Dante was pursuing two suspects, and Carly is sure the other man shot Dante. Drew asks why she won't consider Jason could have shot Dante, even if by mistake. She asks why he's sure Jason is guilty. He says he's not, but all she has is how she feels about him, and they've always come first with each other and always will. It's always been Jason and Carly. Carly says Jason is her friend. No, that's not true. She doesn't know if there is a word to explain how she feels about Jason. She insists that doesn't change how she feels about Drew. Drew knows she loves him, and she loved Jax and Sunny too. But none of them can take Jason's place in her life or her heart. He says Jason is the one she turns to, counts on, and who keeps her secrets. Carly cries that Jason's never failed her. Drew asks what about the last 2 years letting her think he was dead. Isn't that failing her? Jason wakes up in the Quartermain boathouse, and his wound is still bloody. He struggles in pain to get up. Danny walks in and is shocked to see his dad. He turns to leave, but Jason asks him to wait. He is in trouble and needs his help. Danny screams, "Why should I help you?" Jason swears on Danny's life that he didn't shoot Dante. Danny asks what he can do to help, and Jason asks him to grab a first aid kit from the house. Danny leaves to get it, and Jason asks him to close the door behind him. Jason pulls out a gun and sets it next to him. Danny returns with the kit, and Jason smiles at his son. Jason assumes he thought about calling the cops. Danny admits he did, but didn't because he said he didn't do it. Danny sees the gun next to Jason and panics, but Jason says the safety is on. Jason opens the kit and asks him not to tell his mother that he saw him or where he is. Danny asks why not. Jason can't explain it and needs him to trust him. Danny tells him okay. On the next General Hospital, Drew refuses to ride things out to the bitter end with Carly. At the Savoy, Selena fumes they've both been deceived. Also at the Savoy, Curtis has news to share with his dad. Danny goes to someone to ask a favor. Sam screams that she will never forgive him. Anna asks Sunny not to go after Jason.